Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, it's the final one for us in a series of 4 where we're going to count down our favorite songs from the original members of Kiss. This episode, we focus on Ace Frehley counting down our individual top 10 songs from the Spaceman himself. This is a lot of fun. I want to thank both Mike and Vincent for joining me, counting down their favorites as well as mine. We look forward to seeing your comments and reading them online and hearing what your top 10 lists are, because there's never any right or wrong answers when you're doing these types of things. Before we jump in and get started, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. And if you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. All right, now without further ado, let's jump in and let's get started with our top 10 Ace Frehley songs. Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I'm excited to have back with me 2 friends, 2 people who've been on the show in the past. Say hello to Mr. Mike Brunn and Mr. Vincent LaRussa. How you guys doing this morning?
How are you, Mike?
What's up?
Hey, so I was thinking about this, guys. The last time I think the 3 of us were all together to do one of these was almost a year ago, coming off the heels of, Mike, your big win on the Kiss Cruise last year as rock guitar god, right? So that was almost a year ago at this point.
Yeah, that's amazing. It did fly.
It really did. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Mike, you're going on both cruises this year?
Yeah, I figured if it truly is the last one, we'll see.
I like the way you say, if it truly is.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how that game is played with this band.
Yes.
But
So I'm a
if
little,
it is,
I'm a little confused. Are you a real fan?
not really. Actually, I hate the band.
Oh, okay.
This tattoo is fake. It's all not real. None of this is
Okay. This is fake news right now. What we got going on?
100%. I'm actually all about Asia. I follow Asia around waiting for the
Oh, good.
But yeah, I figured why not? You know, may as well just enjoy it. And if it is the last run, then great. You know, we'll be there for it. And if it's not, then we'll all laugh it off, complain a little bit, and do it again next year.
Exactly. Oh, I said last year 10 was going to be my last one. And then they said this year was the last cruise. I'm like, well, I got to go again. It's the last one. And like you said, I'm sure if they do another one next year, hopefully my wife doesn't watch this, I'll go again.
That or Kiss is going to create a boat called, Kiss Cruise, whatever. And then you'll like, gotta find a way to buy that boat. This way I have the boat.
That's why I have the boat.
Yeah.
It'll be
In
one
your
of those
pool.
things.
In your pool. You know.
That's a good. I like that. Put the Kiss Cruise boat in my pool. I love it.
Yeah.
Come and see me in 2023.
Yeah.
On the inflatable Kiss Cruise.
Yeah. There you go.
I
I like that. Yeah.
And then, Mike, since that time, you've actually started your own band as well, right? So talk about that. Let's plug that for a moment.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. So from the video you shared and from winning that thing, which was still, I mean, amazing to me, on the cruise, I've been involved in some projects with Vin with some music stuff. That's been amazing. And then some band opportunities came along. I have a new band. We're called Lunatic Chair. So we're all around the Jersey Shore and New York soon. Covers, everything from Kiss, of course, to Van Halen, Judas Priest, to some more modern stuff. Just having fun playing music with like-minded people, and I really owe a lot of that to you because you shared the video, and even though I had some snippets on Facebook playing guitar, people saw that, talked to other people, and said, why don't you give him a call? And here we are. So there's multiple opportunities that have come my way thanks to you and the Kiss Cruise. So thank you.
Well, I had no idea that I played even a fraction of a tiniest little part in that. And to me, all I did is share a video. All I did was share a video. You were the one that got up there and played those amazing licks. And it's all you, my friend. It's all you.
You made it worldwide, so I do appreciate that.
Well, thank you. All right. Thank you. Good night. That's all I need to hear.
Night, everybody.
And then, Vin, if I'm not mistaken, you've got a new EP out this week as well, right?
Yeah, it's my band Wicked Revival. It's Wicked Revival 2 of 3. 3 will be next month. We'll be releasing that, and that'll be the final piece of the Wicked Revival puzzle. And so yeah, it's very it's mostly geared in the hard rock and the little metal I guess genre or genre or
or however else you want to mispronounce that word.
But there is certainly some pop and some other surprises in there. I'd always say it's a little bit of something for everybody. It's it came together with actually a cover band. We're mostly an 80s and more kind of cover band. And during the pandemic, when we couldn't play, we just found a time to write music together, and voila, 15 songs we gave birth to. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And where do people find the EPs? Right, you said this is the second one. So where do people find them?
No matter what the online, like as electronic distribution sites, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, Apple Music. Did I say that already? Amazon Music, YouTube. Yeah, we basically covers everyone.
Nice.
You know,
I dare Wicked Revival, right?
Yeah. Yes. Wicked Revival. There's, if you look for Wicked Revival, you'll see a 1 and a 2. It's the names of the albums actually are Beautiful Accident. And I just thought that was a very appropriate title because, you know, we weren't really planning it. And, you know, accident is kind of like a bad word, but beautiful accident. It was kind of a little irony in the title. So I kind of like that. Nice. So yeah, so very, very happy with the product.
And then before we jump into our mission at hand today on this episode,
mission at hand.
Mike also mentioned, I hope you're okay with me elaborating on this, Vince. So Mike mentioned that the two of you were working together. So I'll put you on the spot, right? Why don't talk about that and what that is? Because I think the people who are watching this will be a little bit excited to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so based on as you said, on the heels of me really, I knew who Mike was. I met him at the Kiss Cruise, although I'm pretty, you know, forgettable. He probably doesn't even remember meeting me that day. I wouldn't blame him. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
That was 2019, correct? When we went?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So I met Mike in 2019, and I remember you talking about, because we usually do the recap, but you give, well, oh yeah, we did it. I think we actually filmed that, the recap, and you were talking about the whole, you know, whatever it's called. What is it even called? The event that Tommy Thayer usually runs.
Tommy Thayer Riff Off.
Yeah. So you had told me about it, and then I watched it, and I was like, I'm pretty damn impressed. And at the time of last year, I think it was May, I was getting together with a good friend of mine, Al, and he said, I want to come down and record a couple Kiss songs. I think we're like 20 songs later. And seeing Mike's work on there, it was just like, wow, this guy could play. And since he's so true to the record, and which really what we wanted to, you know, a lot of Kiss cover records or tribute records or whatever you want to call them, to me, in a lot of ways, if they deviate from the original, it's not my thing. You know, I like to kind of stay true to the original, try to get as best as we can the original sounds of the guitars, drums, whatever, with very limited, you know, I'm not Electric Lady Studios, I'm not, you know, Power Plant, whatever the hell the names of the studios were back in the day. But we really try to get close to the sound and the performance. And so Mike did a couple of solos, and we were really tremendously pleased with them. And even though I tortured him a bit,
not at all.
Actually,
wait, you tortured somebody, really?
Well, the truth be told, I thought I had a lot of final tracks, and most so recently, Mike's like, "Yeah, I want to do the solo for this." And I was like, "All right, this is the way I am." You know, it's somewhat of a curse, you know, when you want it to be that good, but at the end, you know, you're really proud of what you do, and you're really, when you put yourself out there, you know, a lot of people are going to listen to it. You don't want to hear that one note that's going to bother you. You know, there's always going to be something in the mix, or even with these records I just put out, I'll go back and listen to that and say, oh, maybe I should have put that vocal a little out. You know, that's always going to be, you know, But sometimes you just got to let it go. But yeah, I'm making this very long and winded. I apologize about that. I know he's going, yeah, you are.
Yeah,
But,
you are.
but we're hoping to have this product out probably more now at this point, end of fall, winter's end, or no, winter, beginning of winter,
Beginning of
year
winter.
end. Year end, I'm hoping. But this is going to be a fully packaged. It's not just going to be electronic. It'll probably be somewhat limited. So just start sending money my way, and I'll reserve. I was actually gonna make a joke about somebody, but let me not go there because other people watch this. So you guys could probably figure out who I'm talking about. But
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, you got it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's gonna be obviously a digital project and actual physical project. So really, really excited, and I think people are gonna really love it.
And let me say this, I've heard some of the tracks, you played them for me, and Mike, your guitar parts were perfect. I mean,
Thank
perfect
you.
on these. I'm listening to this, and you know what? And I'll just spill the beans on one of the songs if you don't mind, Vin. And if you mind, I'll
Is
just edit
this
this.
is this the Jason Herndon part?
Oh, I wasn't going to say his name, so
Oh, okay.
but
See, I
yes,
knew. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
I might as well
actually,
plug them. We might as well
yeah,
plug him, and he has what's his
it's
podcast?
Kiss My Collectibles,
There you
right?
go.
So when I
You're
was
welcome. You're welcome, Jason.
when I was in Indy for the Kiss Expo, the Vinnie Vincent one back in, what was that, the end of May, I played Jason, the version you guys did of Call Him Dr. Love. And he just looked at me and he's like, my God, that's flawless, from the drums to the guitar to the vocal. And I forgot I played it for somebody else. And for like 20 seconds, they were like, this isn't the original.
Yeah,
Like
I've
they
gotten
actually thought it was the original.
that. Scary. I've gotten the same thing. I mean, I don't, but thank you for
That's
the
all.
compliment.
That's
Yeah,
all Vin. I mean,
yeah,
listen, as a diehard fan, the drums, the bass, the vocals, the rhythm and the lead guitars, anything that I didn't do. I mean, it sounds like a session, especially like those raw live sessions from like Rock and Roll Over.
Yep.
I mean, Vin nails it. So you may say, well, Electric Lady and all that, but he's got the sound down to the
Thank you.
drum, down to the tone of the
Thank
drum.
you so
I mean,
much. Thank you so proud.
it's incredible, and I've done the same thing. I played one
Yeah.
or two of the tracks for a fellow, a coworker who's a friend and a diehard, and the first few seconds are like, is this like an alternate version? Is this a demo? And I'm on the same page with Vin where I enjoy the tribute albums, and if somebody wants to take it in their own direction, that's cool, that's unique. But when I hear Kiss, I want to hear it true to the original.
Yep.
And in this case, I'm very thankful and honored to be a part, and all the kind words. Thank you so much. To me, it's a blast. And Vin, you're not harassing me or anything at all. I want it to be perfect, and I love
Yeah.
how they sound. But again, it's that one note where you're like, it's going to bother me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I do owe you some more tracks, and I will be getting on them. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I hope when it's out there, everybody takes a listen and they enjoy it. I think everyone will.
And I know this may.
Go ahead.
No, I was to say, I know this may be unreasonable considering we're doing this now, but Mike, can you have it done by the end of the day?
Not a problem. I'll grab the guitar.
Good.
Yeah. While we're recording, while he's going over his list, you can just start doing
Yeah.
I'll have one ear on the track.
That's right. And the last thing I'm going to say about those recordings is you're talking about like One Bad Note or whatever. And Vin played me, I won't name all the songs. Vin played me a song and he's like, yeah, Mike wants to redo this. And I listen, I'm like, why? Where's the bad note? Well, what? And I'd just play it again, and I'm like, I don't hear the bad note. What are you guys talking about?
And you know me, I'm a critical SOB.
And you know me, Vin. I've been critical if I think something doesn't
yeah.
sound right. I'm like, no, you didn't sing this one word right or whatever.
I'd be a hypocrite if I would be like saying like, oh, I don't know what he's talking about, because I know what that feeling's like. And if he doesn't feel it, 100% here and here, then I totally welcome that he wants to do whatever he wants to do to get it right in his mind. And even if I think it's already right, but then I'm going to trick him. I'm going to say, yeah, I put the new track in, and then I'm not going to put it in and see if he really notices.
I probably won't catch it because I'll be hearing what I played in my head and not what I'm listening to.
Right.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Well, then that brings us to the task at hand today, right? So when I was doing these 4 episodes and I wanted to count down my top 10 songs, or our top 10 songs from each original member, I kept saying, well, I want to bring in somebody with Vin and I to do each of these episodes. And I want to bring in somebody different. So when I got to thinking about who's going to do the Ace Frehley episode with us, I was like, my first thought was, well, it's got to be Mike. He's doing those great licks on all these Kiss songs. He won the contest last year. He is for me, the Ace Frehley and Vinny's band and your band. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
it's gotta be Mike because
Yeah.
he's the Ace Frehley. So
Thank you.
Lead guitar.
And from the Bronx. So
And from the Bronx.
and from the Bronx. That's right.
Yeah.
There's Ace, there's Mike, there's J-Lo, right?
Yeah.
yeah, and we both wear the same dresses, so that's
I thought so.
yeah. On the
I was
cruise this
wondering.
year,
I thought your dress looked familiar today. I was like,
it's a different color, but you know, same
American
cut.
Music Awards 2008, was that then?
Versace.
That's what we want to see.
That you got to pay for a meet and greet for that one. On the cruise.
Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, then on that note, Mike, we wanted to start with you, counting down your top 10 Ace Frehley songs. Now, this could be from Kiss, his solo material, anything that Ace either co-wrote, sang, whatever it is. I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Mike Brunn, starting with number 10. Ooh, that rhymes.
Yeah.
Very nice. I think I have a unique list.
Good. I like unique.
Mine's not unique. Mine's predictable as usual. I'll say it right. Yeah.
I'm going with things that you know, where the solo jumps out, or it's just to me a quintessential Ace moment.
I love that you use the word quintessential first off, and Vin
That's
knows
a-
why I love that word.
It's an SAT word. It's very important.
Well, not only is it an SAT word, but it's also from My Cousin Vinny, my favorite
Yeah.
movie, the quintessential
Yeah.
Gambini.
It all goes
Is
back
it-
to that.
Of course.
Isn't this the second reference to My Cousin Vinny? I think we
It
did
is.
it in another episode, right?
It is, yes. And somebody else, I forget which one, it might have been, I don't know, one of the
Mario.
other guys,
Super
Mario might
Mario.
have said the quintessential list. So
Yeah, yeah,
sorry, I can't pass up that word. Go ahead.
Listen, that's your thing. Jump in on it.
yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, so let's go. Number 10, Stranger in a Strange Land.
Ooh, nice. Right off the top, a nice start.
Number 9, Lost in Limbo.
So let me pause you there for a moment, right? So this right off the top, 2 songs from his 80s, which I love. Did you ever see Ace in the 80s live?
No, first time I saw him was early 90s.
Same here. Such a disappointment for me. I never actually saw, I'll say, the proper Frehley's Comet.
Exactly, same thing. And it's
Interesting.
unfortunate because they were a really good band.
Yes, and Stranger in a Strange Land was your number 10 song. That song actually dates back to even before they recorded their first album.
Yeah. That goes
Yes.
back to demos around 84, 85.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think the recording, well, we'll get into that further.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 8, What's on Your Mind?
Yes, from the 78 solo album, one of my favorites on the album, but I didn't say that because I don't want to give away my list.
Number 7, Hard Times.
Nice. Yeah.
Number 6, Shock Me, with the caveat that it's the live version. Has to be the live version.
Interesting. Okay.
Number 5, Rock Soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number 4, Rip It Out. Number 3, this is an odd one, Fractured 3.
Fractured 3. Wow.
Trouble
Okay.
Walking.
So why Fractured 3 over 1 or 2?
Well, we're not to the top yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry
one.
about that.
Number
Touche.
2, another one out of left field, Save Your Love,
Mhm.
which
Yep.
Vin knows I do have an affinity for.
Mhm.
Yes.
And number 1, Fractured Mirror.
Wow. So that stuns me. That I'm sorry, I kind of spoiled it a little bit over
Oh,
there.
not at all. Didn't spoil it.
But all right, so you got 2 of his instrumentals, the Fractured Mirror original and number 3. What is it about those as a guitar player that draws you to them?
Oh, Fractured Mirror, you know, being a Kiss fan, Kiss was very much surface in the 70s. You know, it was just meat and potatoes rock and roll. And then when you hear, even as a little kid, Fractured Mirror, there's so much going on there with the acoustic and then the 12 string and everything sort of coming in. It's just unique. And it was something that as a kid that wanted to play guitar, that was like an inspirational piece.
Yep.
And then jumping ahead to Fractured 3, it's different. It's not as deep as Fractured Mirror, but
Mhm.
it had some really interesting sort of delay and echo effect on some of his playing, with John Regan running some really interesting bass lines. And then the solo on that I thought was really good. That's
Mhm.
one of those things where like Ace just really shines on that solo.
Yep.
And they just, you know, I think it's unfortunate that he didn't do a lot of material like that post 78, because there were a lot of great ideas. And then he kind of had that long stretch where there wasn't much. But
Yeah.
we're lucky to have those 2. So those instrumentals really jump out to me.
What's funny is for me, and I love Fractured Mirror, I think my favorite instrumental of Aces was always, and I know there's a few spoken words in it, but the Acorn is Spinning. I love
Really?
that. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, I couldn't connect with that. I mean, I like it,
Yeah,
but
no,
it
I
just,
understand. It's very different
uh,
than Fractured Series, I'll say.
yeah, yeah, it's unique.
Uh-huh. Yes, it is. It is. Well, that list, I love what I love about that list, Mike, is that you start off right off the top with a couple of songs that are not obvious from his, 80s solo material. Um, you had Rock Soldiers in there also. So it's a nice mix. What about the newer albums he's put out in the last few years? What are your thoughts on those?
I like them. A little, I think, what is it? A little lower than the Angels is one of the songs on there on one
Right.
of those newer albums. I like them, but I think the guitar tones weren't there. Like when I hear Ace, I
Yeah.
want to hear a particular sound.
Agreed.
It's there on the new albums, but I don't think it's fully there. Maybe it's just, I'm older and I'm stuck in the older stuff, but I like them. I'll listen to them. But
Vince cheering you on. He's the same way.
The one thing I was gonna say about this episode, at least I know a Monster song won't be on it.
no,
That is
Although,
true.
Yeah,
we could do some Tommy stuff. I do like some
Yeah.
Tommy riffs.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
going to be the next episode. Top 10 Tommy songs.
We only have two, right?
That's true. Well, he has some co-writes.
Oh, well, co-writes. Yeah. Well, then he
That's it.
probably has about
Hot in the
50.
Shade, right?
That's
Hot in
right.
the
Yeah,
Shade.
we could even go back to Hot in the Shade on those. That's right. Good
The
call,
Street
right?
Giveth. If there's a
Yeah.
10-song list and there's only 7 songs, I'm still not putting The Street Giveth.
Really? And I love that song. That's one of
Really?
my favorites. Yeah, I happen to love that. I'll say it's one of my 5, 6 favorites on that album. Mike's like, who the hell am I talking
We,
to?
we both don't know what to say. We're like, really?
This is a troubling moment.
I always loved how they had the acoustic guitar going through the song.
Root out. Does that one that's not root out?
Yeah.
Yes.
All of a sudden, Gene's at a rodeo.
Yeah, and he's got that super processed acoustic guitar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For the time, I guess it is what it is. But yeah, for the Ace stuff, I mean, I think his first solo album and then Trouble Walking, not first solo 78, but the first Ace Frehley album, Frehley's
Yep.
Common album.
Yep.
The guitar was just perfect. I really like Second Sighting, and I almost put Insane on this list. It's probably
Okay.
number 11.
Okay, yeah.
Because that album sort of strayed a little bit. But then you know what? At the same time, Words Are Not Enough.
Mhm.
It's another great tune. And then
Yep.
what's the ballad on Second Sighting?
It's over now.
It's over. That could have been one of the biggest songs of the 80s.
Yep.
Technically, it's an Ace song, I guess, even though Todd sang it.
Mhm.
But that is, seriously, that's one of the best songs. Let's say
Agreed.
power ballad
But
wise.
we should also be clear. I think Todd is the only one who's the co-writer on that song, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
In
so
fact,
then
I'm not
yeah.
even sure if Ace even played on it or not. He was
Yeah.
MIA a lot of those sessions.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
Todd song. That's
That's
essentially
a
what
Todd
it
song.
is. So
It is.
yeah, I
But
guess
it's on an Ace album, so if you put it
Yeah.
on your list, I wouldn't have
give it
called
an
you out
asterisk.
on it. We'll give it an asterisk. Yes, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, that's an awesome list, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, Vin. Here comes all the songs 1978 and prior. He might throw in one from the 80s. I'm curious to see if we get one from the 80s or not. So,
Four straight episodes, 4 same jokes.
yeah, so and last time you got me good because you did include some newer stuff on the Peter Criss one, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You had some songs from his 80s albums. I was like, I didn't know what to say. I almost fell off my chair.
Well, I'm gonna give just a little spoiler alert on one song because we're just talking about that. That's on my B list. And just because because we were just talking about, like, Calling to You is like one of my favorite Frehley's Comet songs, and
Yes.
I don't really consider that an Ace song. And I made sure I looked at who wrote on what, and because if he had a co-write on it, then I said, all right, he helped write it,
Right.
So I want to make sure that, I just want to throw out that one. I gave you a little sneak into my B list.
Okay.
However, my A list, this was,
Your
I gotta say,
A-list.
this was almost harder than I thought. The Paul Stanley list was going to be the hardest, but I feel like this one was the hardest one to do, because there's really a lot. Because even just now, I just shuffled a bunch out and back in. So
I saw as Mike was going, I saw you like typing away.
Yeah,
I'm like,
well,
you're like, oh shit, I forgot about that song.
So let me just say, disclaimer, like, an hour from now, I could change my mind on this, so, but that's, again, when you have that happen, that really tells me that, wow, this artist really has a lot of good material that in any given moment, you can gravitate more towards this song or to that song. And my list is really the significance of the songs to me. Sometimes it may not be the best song in my opinion, but it's more the significance and the impact. So I know you always pick on me about, nothing past, 78, and you're right. But in this particular case, I'm going to start off, and this just shot into the number 10 slot, Shot Full of Rock. Shot Full of Rock.
You went 1989, a full decade further along.
See that? See?
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, good.
I was gonna say, I've heard rumors, I don't know if this is true, I know Ace has a co-write on that. I've heard rumors that was really all Richie Scarlett writing the song, and then Ace came in and did a vocal. I don't know how true it is, but
and it could be really true, but Ace is singing on it, and that's part of the rules, right?
Yes.
So it's like anything else. We've done a lot of whether it's a Paul song or a Gene song, or so I'm just going by your rules, Mr. Brunn.
And it's a fine selection for your number 10 spot. I haven't loved this song too.
And just remembering, oh wow, why is it not a Frehley's Comet record? And this wasn't the time of the internet. We had Rip magazine, we had Metal Edge, we had Hit Parader, we had Cream. We had all these different magazines that we used to get our info from. I don't even know if I knew that there was no more Frehley's Comet at that particular time, but I just thought it was cool that it was an Ace Frehley record. And just hearing that, I love the way that track, they fade in to the song. Eddie, and let me just say one thing. I always felt, and especially with the last bunch of albums that Ace has put out, that Eddie Kramer always got the most out of Ace Frehley, in the sense of guitar tone, as Mr. Wren said, and vocals. I just feel like Eddie was Ace's. I mean, you could look at what he did with Kiss. It's very well documented. I just wish on Ace's latest stuff that he had gotten together with Eddie again, because I just think that it would just been in my opinion a better product. So I just love the way this track sounds, the aggressiveness of it. It's got that great riff, that whatever that little thing he does. Mike could tell you what the hell he's playing. I don't know, but
an ace lick.
It's an ace lick.
Mike, you want to demonstrate? No, I'm just So
pick up the guitar.
We get hit with a copyright.
As soon as this is over, Mike's gonna go, how does that go again? He's gonna be like,
No, it absolutely 100%.
Right. It's just such a great ace, and it's totally unique in my opinion. But so yeah, Shot Full of Rock. My number 9 song is something that I've grown really more to appreciate, courtesy of Mr. Brunn, and that is
I know where you're going.
Save Your Love. Mike had said to me, Mike had said to me, I think I just said, hey, I want you to pick my next song to do for this Kiss project, and he picked this song. I was like, really? Okay, and certainly I was familiar with the song, but it's one thing when you're familiar with the song, but then it becomes your own song that you're doing for for the community, for the Kiss community. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. The vocal, I just love everything about it. And to his point, and to I think when I spoke to Mr. Wren, I think Mike Wren, you said that it was your favorite Ace solo, if I remember correctly, and I was like, wow. And it's so unique, and it just really, that's just elevated in this song to me. And that's why it's in my list at number 9.
Makes me smile that's on your list now.
Thank you.
Makes me smile quite a bit.
I could stay on the show. I'm doing it right.
Yeah, you're invited back for at least one more episode. Yes.
Okay. Wait, this is the last one.
No, you're invited back for one. But you'll get one more after this. At least as of now. We'll see the next 8 songs. How I feel.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay, number 8 is Rock Soldiers. I just remember you coming over my house with the Ace Frehley's Comet record. You always had like the 411 on the new stuff coming out. Yep. I was very excited to hear this record, and we sat in my basement, and then that's the first song you hear, and immediately I was totally hooked. I was like, wow, this sounds great, and Ace is back, and he told us so, and I was like, he certainly is, and I just think it's a great song, and I love that song, and it just reminds me of that particular period of time, and kind of Ace getting back on his feet and coming out with his own record again. So
all good reasons to include it on the list.
Yeah. My number 7 choice in my Triple R series is Rock Bottom. I've always loved this song. Always loved this song.
Now Ace technically only wrote the intro part.
I don't care what he did. It's a great intro. I don't care.
Like, I don't give a crap what you say.
I don't care. Sets up the fucking song. And listen, there's a wonderful part there was a Red Hot Chili Peppers video when they were recording, I think it's called Funky Monks or Monks, when they were recording the incredible Blood Sugar Sex Magic album. And you got who's the drummer who looks like the actor? What's
Chad
his
Smith.
name again?
Chad
Yeah,
Smith.
Chad Smith. He's on the piano playing Rock Bottom intro. Yeah, and
Oh.
it's like
I remember
and
seeing that. Wow, I haven't seen that in like 30
Yeah.
years. You're right. Yes.
yeah. So, and I remember watching. I'm like, why does it sound so familiar? And then I was like, and it was that, and I just always loved that intro. And what I really loved about that intro, just when you think it's going to change or go to the next part, it doesn't. It kind of keeps going on, and it's just the perfect. Like that song is so great in my opinion, and just where that last chord rings out, and then Paul comes with "I Can't Wait a Day." You know, it's just like it's just so in your fucking face. You know, I just love that song. Always have, always will.
So yeah, this is how you could tell I've got two guitar players and musicians on the show with me, right? Because here I'll do a spoiler alert for my list. No instrumental parts.
Yeah.
Wow. Mike's got two diffraction songs on his list. You're calling out Rock Bottom for the intro over there written by Ace. That's how I know I've got musicians here who appreciate the other side of Ace. It's not only just the hard rock stuff. It's that I'll say musician side of his writing, which I love that you guys did that. That's awesome.
Cool. So at number 6 is Rocket Ride. Love this song. When we got our little bonus, these new songs on a live too. And quite honestly, I think they're great songs. I mean, I don't know if you guys are better with this stuff. They were intended for what was going to be Love Gun, this and that. If these are how this all came to be, you might know the history more than I do about that stuff. But
I've heard stories, Mike, that Rocket Ride was written for Love Gun and they left it off because they only wanted to have one Ace song. Have you heard that before, Mike?
I may have.
Okay.
There's so many stories of things that were started and not.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that is one of those songs that and again, I know Peter didn't play on, I don't think any of that side of the album, right?
I think that's Peter on there.
So I've heard rumors that it is, that it isn't, but the production on those 5 songs is amazing. And Bob Kulick is amazing on there. But Rocket Ride, I mean, if it was intended for Love Gun, I could see them leaving it off. But I think that the way it was produced for The End of a Life too just makes it that much better.
Agreed.
It's just a much more full sounding, just a raw recording. The only issue I have with that is the wah pedal in the solo. And again, this is a guitar nerd thing, but it didn't fit for me. And again, it doesn't make me dislike the song, but I just thought it was, I don't know, like flavor of the moment kind of thing they were adding, and it just doesn't work for me. But the song, obviously it's classic Kiss, but it's not top 10. It's top 20 for me, but not top 10.
Interesting. I was wondering if there was a reason you left that off your list, and I was going to talk about it at the back end, but I've never heard anybody else, I guess, besides a guitar player like yourself, be like, gee, I don't like the wah pedal on the guitar solo.
It's a very stupid reason to dislike a part of the song, but that's in my head. It just Ace and a wah pedal, because if you actually if he tried to use a wah pedal live, he'd be on his back in 2 seconds. So, that's where my brain goes.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Vin, what's next?
Yeah, I'm just looking at my list here. I'm looking to flip 4 and 5. I'm being torn right now, but you know what? I'm going to stick with my original. So number 5 is Breakout. I love this song. And I know it started out as, it was Car Jam, but let's face fact, that first video or whatever now that we see of Richie Scarlett and Anton Fig and Ace and John Regan in the studio playing that is I love that fucking video. It's so it's so great. The energy. Anton Fig, as Mike, for years, was one of my big influences on the drums.
I'm going to correct what you said. You said one of you. I think he'd probably still rank up pretty high for you.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't say was. I would say still is, maybe.
Oh no, still is. I just love Anton's playing. I think he's very original. I mean, just listen to his drum breaks are just on that song, and obviously in Rip It Out. It's just incredible song. The energy, the riff, everything about that song. I love it. I know that Todd sings it, but we know how it originated and stuff like that. So
Yep.
I just love that song.
And you know what? I'm going to just pause you here for a moment. And I'm going to take back my digs of you not choosing anything past 1978 because you apparently have more songs from the 80s than maybe Mike and I combined. so
Shocker.
this is the episode where I say, I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah. I'm gonna bottle that one up and watch
That's
it about
right.
50 times.
You're gonna rewind, watch it again, rewind, watch it again.
I'm sorry.
I got 5 million views of this video. You're
Yeah,
gonna be like 4,900,000 of them are me just watching you say
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just going to everybody's house. Can I watch this video? Because if you do it on the same computer, it doesn't count it.
That's
Right.
Maybe I'll just insert like a commercial right there. It's like, and then it'll cut to a commercial.
Yeah. Damn you.
Anyway, go ahead.
Number 4. I have to put it in the list. It's Mr. Cole Gin. So, listen. I know. I want you to be honest with me. Forget about that you've heard it a zillion times and they played it. To me, I can't imagine Kiss without a Cole Gin. It's such an iconic song. I know it's been played to death, but let's face facts. It's on the first Kiss record. It's written by Ace. It's obviously a classic, and I still play the song.
And it's still boring.
You're being very biased, Mr. Brunn. You're being very biased. No,
I've always thought that song was boring, and one of my favorite parts of Mike's list is that it wasn't on his either. So.
Well, sorry to disappoint you both, but again, I'm looking at the totality of everything here, and the significance of the song, and I play the tune. I love the tune still. And it's probably even I'll admit it's further up my list than maybe some of these other songs, but I was putting the weight and the value to me and what it means brought to the Kiss catalog. So that's why it sits at Mr. 4.
Mike, why wasn't it on your list? 4. I'm just curious.
I mean, it is one of my original favorites. The live version, the studio version, drags a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's probably just overkill. It's been overdone. And it's quintessential. Here we go with that word. It's Ace, but I think maybe the live version would be in the top 20. It's kind of burnt out to me. But it's also, when I sit down with a new guitar, the first thing I'll play is the main riff from Cole Gin, because you know exactly how that sounds in your head, and you'll know if the intonation is right and if everything is set up correctly. If that works, then pretty much most of the guitar will work, in general. But yeah, it just didn't. It's not one of those ones that is earth-shattering to me.
Well, I was happy it wasn't on your list, and you're welcome back anytime because of it. I'm going to share a fun story here, though. It has nothing to do with the song per se, right? But I agree with you guys. If I'm going to listen to the song, the live version is the best. And I was just chatting with somebody online last night about this. The whole intro to that song where Paul's like, I was talking to people backstage before, and there's some people here that like to drink vodka and orange juice. When I was young, I'm talking probably like 7 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old, like in that range, I thought Paul was saying Bakken orange juice. And in my 8-year-old mind, I thought Bakken was a brand name like Tropicana. And I never understood why my parents only bought Tropicana and we never had Bakken orange juice before.
Jesus Christ. Well, it's better than you trying to find vodka and pouring that in at the age of 7.
That's true. So whenever I hear that live version, I do think of that intro and me as a little kid saying, but where do I find Bakken orange juice?
You're running into the shop, right? Like, no,
exactly.
Five Alive garbage. Where's Bakken?
Exactly. So anyway, there's a silly fun story about that song. So that's my favorite part of that song, Vin, is the intro and the fact that I thought there was such a thing as Bakken orange juice.
I will say this though, and I think this really influences your lists.
Go ahead.
I don't know the number, but Mike, how many Kiss concerts have you been to?
Me?
Mike Brunn. Yes.
I'm half Mike Brunn. How about that?
All right.
About 75 to 80.
And Mr. Wren?
We're up near 170.
Oh, I'm not even half anymore.
Right. So and I don't know. I was just trying to find it. I think I've been to maybe 20 Kiss shows. I'm just throwing it out there. I forget. So I think the fact I know.
Rookie.
I shouldn't even be on the show.
Exactly.
So
right, I'll edit him out.
I think that obviously I think influences me a bit more because you've seen them so many more times in concert than I have. So that could be a factor in all this. I'm just saying, but
I just always found the studio version slow
Yeah.
and boring. And then I found the versions they did in the 80s to be the exact opposite, way too fast and lost any feel the song would have. So I can't get those two things out of my mind. Your live 75 version is good. I could do without hearing it on this friggin' End of the Road tour. I wish they'd never played a damn song again. Yeah, I stand by it. Boring.
But you get to see Gene lick Tommy's neck now when they play it. So.
Even more reason why they shouldn't.
If they're playing it, I'm happy. I enjoy it. It is, a classic tune. But I like the '80s version. I like what Bruce out there and Eric Carter. I mean, they were going to town on it, which was good for that era. But I do agree. The studio album is as if someone put their finger on the album and it's just going to live.
Yeah, Mike, you ready? I'm going to piss off a lot of longtime Kiss fans. If you're going to ask me to take one song off the End of the Road set list, I would take Cold Gin off long before I take Say Yeah out of the set list.
I'm with you.
All right. Yes, both of us pissing people off. I love it.
I like Say Yeah.
Me too.
That's a good tune.
It's a fun live song also.
Yep. Absolutely. People sing along to it that don't even know it. So
that's right.
Cool. Look at all the controversy. Look at all the controversy I caused. I'm loving it. See how I'm saying quiet like.
So you say I didn't get a Monster reference in, Vin, but I got a Sonic Boom reference in instead.
I have no problem with that song.
I know you don't.
I have no problem with the song. Yeah.
All right, Vin, go ahead.
All right. So my top three. Number 3 is Parasite. I've mentioned this in other episodes. Incredible riff, incredible song. That song has been elevated the last bunch of years as far as it kind of was always on my radar, but I never really acknowledged it as much as I probably should have. And maybe in seeing Ace as much as I have in the last 5 or 10 years, and and just really kind of going back and listening to all the records again, it's really and now playing it with the Kiss cover band. It's really, I remember the first time I did a rehearsal, and I gotta keep saying to myself, okay, I gotta be Gene Simmons here, right? It's it's just that incredible feeling of playing the riff and then singing those first, those words. It's just such a, even now I said I get the goosebumps, you know what I mean? It's just that, and when doing God of Thunder, it's just like, my God, like I am the Lord of the Wastelands, damn it.
Yes, you are. Well, I gave Mike a demerit for not mentioning Parasite at all during his list. So,
well, I play that with my band now. That was my Kiss contribution. I love it, and it is one of the coolest Ace solos. Again, the live version. But the version with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick is
great,
beastly. I mean, it's phenomenal. So, yeah, it would definitely be top 15, probably around 12 or 13.
Okay.
But maybe it's just because it's been played so many times in for me in personal listening that these ones jump out more as the riff. In my list, they have, like, I don't want to say sentimental connections, but they're ones that have more value than just the solo or the moment. So again, but as Vin said, this list will change. Things will drop in and out as I listen to something and go, oh, I forgot about that. So
I'll let that one slide, Mike. It's okay.
Sorry. Very sorry.
All right, go ahead, Vin. Number 2.
Number 2 is Shock Me. Again, it's the first time we get to hear Kiss Ace singing on a Kiss record. Obviously wrote the song. On most records that Ace wrote and he sang on, he usually plays at least the bass, does the rhythm parts and stuff like that, which is really always cool. I mean, again, to use that word, it's the quintessential Ace Frehley song, and it's a very appropriately titled because of what happened to him. We all know the history, what happened to him. It's a tremendous song, in my opinion. A great guitar solo. I like the kind of way the chords changed for the second half of the solo. And there's like a note that sustains, and you could hear where they punched them in. I know Mike knows what he's talking about.
I have no clue what you're talking
You hear that note, it's ringing out, There's no way he's holding that note and playing the next part. So, but which is, I mean, it's just part of. I'm not criticizing that, but you could tell it's definitely a punch. But just a great, incredible song.
Excellent. Which brings us to number one.
Number one is "Rip It Out." Again, I probably have mentioned this on other shows. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. First song ever played live in any band that I ever did. First song I sang behind the drums. You were there, Mr. Brunn.
I was. Yes.
I actually have a very low price, 50 cents. I could offer the recording, the soundboard recording.
Oh yeah, soundboard. It's the bootleg machine I had. What was
I think it was Sanyo. I think it was Sanyo.
Sanyo at that time.
Yeah. There's a blast from the past.
Sanyo with the built-in microphone.
Again, first Ace solo record, fucking song is just incredible. That's what I was talking about with Eddie Kramer. Listen to the vocal on that, the attitude, the sound of that whole record, the guitar, the drums, the solo, everything about that song is incredible. I'll never, ever. It's never going to be a cold gin, ever, or to you. It's just an incredible song. So that's my number one. And I had a little bit of like Shock Me, Rip It Out, but I just think to me, Rip It Out's the better song.
I won't argue with you about that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that was a fine list, Mr. LaRussa. And like I said, I got to give you your props. You went how many songs from the 80s? 4? 3? 4?
1, 2, 3.
3. And Mike, how many from the 80s did you have?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
All right. So combined, you guys had 7 songs from the 80s. So I'll give you a sneak preview. I only have 2 songs on my list that are not from the 70s. So I'm the Mr. Vincent LaRusso of this episode. Wow. Yeah. So there's my little sneak preview. So I'm going to start with my list. And my first one is a song that was actually considered for Psycho Circus, and I think blows away Into the Void, because I don't think that's that great of a song, and it didn't come up on anybody's list here, obviously. I saw Ace first do this in '95 on a solo tour. I love it. The song Sister. I absolutely love the song. I'll admit, I probably like the demo version more than the version that he put on the album. The demo version is a little bit faster in tempo or whatever, but I still always love the song. In fact, yesterday I was swimming around in my pool like I always do, and I just put shuffle music on, and it came on, and I was like, I'm glad that song's on my list. That's a damn good song. So number 10 was Sister.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's to me, it's my favorite song that he's done post, the second round with Kiss. Because I agree with you, Mike. The newer albums could be a little hit and miss, some of the stuff on it, but I always loved Sister. So there it is, number 10 on my list.
I agree with you on the demo too. The demo is a little more raw. Well, obviously being a demo, the tempo is faster, and I think the guitars are better. And I do that riff kind of is almost the same riff as Lost in Limbo. It's
interesting.
The same family. Ace has a very unique way of songwriting, and a lot of the riffs are similar, which is what works for him because it's his sound.
Agreed. Excellent. So my number 9 list comes from the first Frehley's Comet album.
Number 9 song.
Number 9 song, right? No, definitely not number 9 list. I don't have 9 lists of Ace.
I like if you have 9 lists. I'm telling you, I don't have that much time on my hands.
Got 8 days to do this.
That's right. My number 9 song on my list comes from the first Frehley's Comet album. Song neither one of you guys mentioned, and I know technically, I guess you could say it's a cover. I happen to love Into the Night. I love it. To me, you were mentioned before, Vin, the first time hearing Ace solo in the 80s. For me, I think I had a couple of bootleg tapes, but I saw the video on MTV for Into the Night before I had the album, and for me, it was like, that's a good song. That's it's catchy. I wish Ace would be doing it live these days. If you asked me for one song that Ace would put in his set list, I'd vote for Into the Night. It's just always been a song I love. I know he didn't write it, but I think he did a great cover of it. So I put number 9, Into the Night.
That was very close to making the list for me because the outro solo, again, guitar stuff.
Good point.
Outro solo on that with 2 guitars in harmony, is incredible.
Yeah.
And again, I know it's not an Ace tune, but he made it his own. And
agreed.
That outro is amazing.
Agreed.
So now I'll be listening to that now as soon as we're done.
Excellent. I love it.
Great song.
Yeah, number 8 on my list, although I'm tired of hearing Ace play it live, I do think it's a great song, Strange Ways. I just think it's a cool riff. Yeah, Shane, I don't know what else to say about it. Just a cool riff to me. I'm tired of hearing him play it live, but I love the song Strange Ways, number 8.
Mm.
Number 7 is the song that, no pun intended, and it's not the song on number 7 on my list, shocked me that all 3 of us are going to have on our list, but it makes me so happy to hear that all 3 of us have it, and that's Save Your Love. Yeah, when you first put on your list, Mike, I'm like, all right, somebody else besides me has it on their list, and then Vin put on his. I'm like, we got the trifecta here. All 3 of us have it on the list. I've always liked the song, and when I saw Ace in 2018 on the Kiss Cruise, and Mike, were you there 2018?
Yeah,
right, so his first show on the pool deck, he opens up with Save Your Love, and at that moment, it just hit me like, this is a friggin' awesome song. It's not just a good song. And since 2018, the song has just kept like elevating for me how much I love it, to the point that, like Vince said, he told me, last year, Mike, choose one Kiss song for me to cover. And I was like, Save Your Love. And he's like, that's a bizarre choice. I didn't expect it. I'm like, go back and listen. It's a damn good, under the radar Ace song. So I was so happy you guys both had it on your list.
That is one of, to me, probably his best solo.
Yeah.
Because it's different. It's a little extended. And it's just got some, like around the Dynasty era, he had some very unique stuff going on. And it's evident in that solo. I mean, it's, Vin and I talked about this too a few months back with the project. It's just one of the coolest solos. And I love playing it. That's one of those things when you plug in, you're just warming up, just play that solo. And it just takes you right back. I'm glad to see that's on everybody's list, because it is a sleeper, it's a classic. It's a classic Ace tune.
And can I just segue, because you mentioned about Dynasty just now. I mean, Mike, you can interject here when I say this, but short and sweet, but perfect. His solo licks in "I Was Made for Loving You," right? I mean, to me, if you just think about that song, he just has that. He has the intro of the song, and then there's the solo break at the end. After, I think it's after the drum whole part. No, was it before that?
No, it's after that.
Yeah.
It's after that, right? I mean, you could tell it's Ace, obviously, but you know what? To me, those 2 parts doesn't sound like Ace to me. Like, oh, that sounds like the same thing he used on another song on Dr. Love or whatever. Yeah, you hear the Ace thing, but I think that's, I guess my point saying is, for a song like that they're obviously trying to write a pop disco song, you got to make it short and sweet, and you got to make every note count. To me, again, I think Ace gets a lot of, he's not a great guitar player, right? To me, a great guitar player is guitar players, and we haven't mentioned this yet, that you can sing the solos. It's not just a bunch of zillion notes, and I'm not saying anything against those type of guys. To me, and that's what made Eddie Van Halen so special, because even though he could play, but to me, they were just very melodic, and Eddie made every fucking note count, and I think that Ace was the same type of guy. He may have been more limited in his technique and his knowledge of the fingerboard, but to me, especially those 70s Ace records, he made every note count on his guitar solos.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Absolutely.
So then I'm going to move to my number 6 song, which, Vin, I was actually surprised, if I remember right, you did not have it on your list, and that's Speeding Back to My Baby. I thought that was a song that you actually loved as much as I did.
Stay tuned.
Okay. When you talk about licks, that whole opening to that song, I'm not going to call it a guitar solo, but that whole like opening lick to the beginning of the song, I absolutely love it. I think that's freaking great Ace right there. So Speeding Back to My Baby is number 6.
Phenomenal song. Phenomenal song. Love that song. Love it. And that's right after Rip It Out, right?
Yes, it is.
Like after Rip It Out phase, you get that, you just it's just, damn, I should have put that in my head.
Yeah, like I said, I was shocked.
No,
shocked that you didn't have it on your list. But there it is, number 6. At least one of us put it on the list, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
As
you said, it would always be boring if we had the same songs, right?
Exactly. If all 3 of us had the same top 10, what would be the point of doing this?
Right.
So number 5 on my list was Shock Me. I think to this song, to me, this is like the quintessential, to use the word again, the quintessential Ace song, right? And when I think back to his first solo tour in '85, I remember he wasn't even doing this song. and you could hear on some of the bootleg tapes people yelling out, play Shock Me, so it's kind of funny. Like, I don't even think Ace realized how much the fans loved this song at that time. But to me, if I'm going to see Ace, right off the top of my head, first song I'm thinking he's got to do is Shock Me. If I go see Ace solo and he doesn't do Shock Me, I say, what the hell is going to see Ace for? So yes, it's been played to death, I know that, but it is the quintessential Ace Frehley song, number 5, Shock Me 5 times, let's say. Mike's counting all the quintessentials for me. That's good, thank you. All right, so my number 4 song has been for couple of decades one of my all-time favorite Ace songs. In fact, maybe a couple of years ago, this might even been number 2 or maybe even number 1 on my list, from his 78 solo album, What's on Your Mind. It's so different than the other songs on the album, but I absolutely freaking love the song and have since really the 80s. I know in the 80s people would ask me, what's your favorite song on the album? And if I'd said What's on Your Mind, they'd look at me like, really? So many great songs, and that's the one you choose? It's moved down the list a little bit over the years, but it's still a freaking amazing song. Absolutely love it. What's on Your Mind? And I was happy, Mike, you had it on your list, right?
Yeah, it has. I probably, from when I think that was the second Kiss album I ever got, so that would be around 79. And of all the songs on there, besides Fractured, What's on Your Mind was the one that it just has the nicest melody.
Yep.
And it's just it's almost like a sing-along song, to a degree, for Ace, So
it's a different style song for Ace to me.
Yeah, it's just a poppy sort of happy song, and I love the ending on it too. It just has a little riff, and then you'll understand when you hear it now. You'll hear it, but it's just it's a great song, that's a great album. Every song on there is pretty much a winner, but that was always one that stood out. So that is definitely in my top 10. So I'm glad to see it's in yours.
Yeah, you just mentioned, and I agree, it's a poppier sound and song. I bet you that song would have fit on Dynasty or Unmasked and felt in place on both of those albums.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Me neither, until you just said it, the poppy, and I agree, it always had a poppier sound, but I never thought of it until you just said what you did.
That would absolutely fit. Get rid of Torpedo Girl and drop that in. Yeah, like, and poorly edited at that.
Yeah.
And Battle Station.
Oh man! All right, my number 3 song is Vin. It was, I think, your number 2 or number 3 also, Rocket Ride. Mike, I'm sorry, that solo in the middle does not bother me at all, and the solo outro on the end is amazing. And I just absolutely love that song. I was listening to the show that Kiss just released off the Soundboard series, which, as everybody knows, was from the Alive 2 tour, not from the Love Gun tour. Yep. And I'm thinking, how could they have not done Rocket Ride on that leg of the tour? How could they not do anything from side 4 of Alive 2 on that leg of the tour? But to me, Rocket Ride is just freaking amazing. I love it.
Wawa. 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 No Wawa. No Wawa. No Wawa.
Mike's like, overruled.
He doesn't even go get a beverage or gas at Wawa. That's how much he
I avoid it. No, I buy it with the finger.
He's like, car might stall. No, let's see if it's 7-Elevens. Well, let's keep going.
I'd rather walk than go into this place.
That's great. That's great. My number 2, Vin, I think it was right near the top of your list as well. Rip It Out. Absolutely love that song as well. I know this year when Ace first started doing his tour this year, he didn't have Rip It Out in the set list, and there's a little bit of a backlash from fans, like, how could he be leaving that one out? So well, maybe it was last year when he was opening for Alice Cooper. Either way, I know there was a backlash, and it's another one. When I go see Ace, I want to see him do Rip It Out. That's just a friggin' great way. Think back to 78. At that time, Ace had only done 2 songs on Kiss albums to that point, right? Shock Me and Rocket Ride, and a whole album of Ace songs. People weren't really sure what to expect there.
Yeah.
And it opens up with Rip It Out, then Speeding Back to My Baby, Snowblind, etc. And it's like, what a friggin' monster album for somebody to put out when they'd only done 2 lead vocals to that point, and what a perfect way to just announce this is going to be a friggin' kick-ass album. Started with Rip It Out. So,
oh yeah,
agreed.
And that song the drum, the first note of that song is like a gunshot.
True. That's true.
It's it was in my list at number 4.
I couldn't remember where it was on your list also, Mike. So all 3 of us have it high up on the list.
That middle part with the solo, then it's that sets such a tone for that album. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure a lot of people that picked him up and were expecting like Paul to be the heaviest rocker and Gene to
Mm-hmm.
be this evil thing, put that on and we're like, whoa, like what is this?
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
yeah, that's a fantastic song. And you know, we'll be part of the project with Vin, so I'm very excited
Yeah.
to
Awesome.
record the solo
Yeah.
55 times because of one new
Oh,
groove.
that's great. That's great. So then my number one song is, I think, my all-time favorite Ace riff. Absolutely love this song. Parasite is friggin', I love that riff. Absolutely love it. Mike, I know you said you're doing it with your bands, which makes me happy. I know it wasn't on your list, which makes me sad, but that's you get every once in a while you might get something wrong, and that's okay. That's okay. But
Wow, he's picking on you a little bit. Normally, it's all on me.
I'm
yeah,
here to take some of the flack from you, Vin.
Okay.
that's
All
right.
right.
The
Thank you,
Roberta.
Mike. Thank the Roberta. Take some of the Roberta flack.
That's
I
right.
will jump in front of the bullet for you.
What a
Wow.
pal, right? What a pal. But no, I mean, I love that riff. And Mike, you mentioned when Kiss brought it back on the Revenge tour with Singer and
Oh, yeah.
Bruce. And I was so happy when they brought that back in 92 because they really hadn't done the song live since like early 76. So it was a long time at that point. And they brought it back on the End of the Road tour. Vin, when you and I went to see them in
Allentown.
Allentown, and we saw them in New Hampshire, I think a few nights before that.
Mhm.
And we didn't know yet at that point that they were going to have Parasite in the set list because it was the first show of their 2020 run right before the pandemic. It was the first show with David Lee Roth. And when they put Parasite in the set list, I'm like, yeah. And then they freaking drop it again. God damn.
They did drop it quick, right?
Yeah, I think it lasted like 20 shows or something like that, and then they dropped it again. I'm like, God damn it! So that's I knew that would be my number one because I love that, absolutely love that riff.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting. I'm surprised that's your number one.
yeah, it is. So, we spoke a little bit about some of our can't miss songs. I think Mike, you rattled off some of yours. I was almost wanting to include on my list a couple of songs from the early 80s. Mike, I know you and I like to collect some of those rare tapes from from even back in the day. I absolutely love Audio Video and Back Into My Arms Again from his early 80s stuff. How both those songs did not make it onto the friggin' Frehley's Comet albums blows my mind.
Back
Love
Into
those
My
songs.
Arms, especially.
Yes.
That's just such a cool, it's a ballad sort of thing, but it's the vocal. I mean, and Ace is not known for his vocal prowess, but on that demo, it's really good.
It's great.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll say this. What the hell's he thinking choosing Dolls over that song?
Yeah, Dolls that's a head scratcher.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, Back Into My Arms, I think that is one of those unreleased gems, much like Deadly Weapons, which he played on, which I again is in my top, should be in the top 10, but it's not an official release. But yeah, that song really should be done, or find an old demo, clean it up and put it out on something, because it really is one of the best Ace tracks that nobody's ever heard.
Agreed, which is a shame because I think it's a friggin' amazing song. But I also love Give It To Me Anyway, but I felt that was much more of a Richie Scarlett song, even though Ace does usually sing the chorus in the live versions that they have. And they did release it on Loaded Deck, I think, but I was like, nah, that's too much of a Richie Scarlett song for me to include it. But I love that song as well.
There's one that I can't remember now, one of those 80s demos that it was probably recorded 3-4 times, so we have a few versions. I can't think of it right now. It's not Audio Video. It's not The Girl Can't
Dance.
There was one other. I think it's a 2-word title. But again, it's one of those ones where it has that very unique Ace riff and has a really good sound. And unfortunately, we may never hear a produced version of it.
I wish he would put out, and when he was doing that stuff with Gene for the vault, there was whispers that Ace might do his own vault, and I wish he would. I'm hoping he still has nice, good, clean versions of these songs, because that early 84, 85, 86 time period for Ace, there's a lot of great material there.
Yeah.
A lot. He has an album or two that he put out that would rival to me anything he's put out, maybe just short of the 78 album. That's how good I think this stuff is.
I don't disagree.
And as a side note, I don't know why I thought of this, but you're just talking about Ace 70s and this 80s, this and that. Go check out on YouTube I think it's a real estate or something, did a walkthrough of Ace's house.
Mm.
You ever see that?
No,
You guys
yeah.
ever see it?
I
Yeah,
did
It's
not.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool. They do the front around the grounds and they go into the house. Obviously, there's nothing in there.
Mhm.
But you could see kind of Ace's house. You could see they go down where he's like, I think this might have been a control room, and I think this, you know what I mean? But it's
Hmm.
kind of cool. You could see, obviously the house has a lot of history. Obviously, he had a recording studio. We know that they recorded down there for The Elder, I believe, right?
Yep.
Ace in the Whole Studios. It's kind of cool. It's just a little fun video to watch.
I have
But
to
I don't
check
know what
that
the
out. I
videos
haven't
is.
seen it.
Just look up like Ace Frehley Connecticut home video, whatever, and you'll
It's an
find it.
old- I think the
yeah.
video was filmed in like 90.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's when
Exactly.
Ace had vacated the property, so it was still, set up as his place, and you can tell by looking
Right.
at everything. It's very much 80s modern,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
you do
Yeah.
get a good look at the entire property and what the studio, especially down there.
And this might be a first that I'm mentioning a video that Mike Brunn has never seen that's
Yes.
Kiss related. I mean, he's thinking right now, how did I miss this one?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, Vince saw this and I didn't. What the hell's going on
Yeah,
in life right
yeah,
now?
yeah.
Oh man,
Little fun Ace,
excellent.
tidbit.
I want to just call out a few other songs really quick here, right? Calling to You, love it, but again, to me that was like a Todd Howarth song, much more than a song. But I think Vin, you had it on your list, right? So I'm glad it got represented at least. Coming Home.
Well, I had it on my list as my B list. That
Oh,
was
that's
my
right, that's right,
spoiler
yes.
to my B list. Yes.
That's right. Yes. Coming Home. I love that song. I know Ace has a co-write. So by the letter of the law that I put out there, I should be including it on my list. And Coming Home, anybody who's watched the show knows, has for decades been one of my all-time favorite Kiss songs since the 80s. Since the 80s, before it was on MTV Unplugged and anybody even knew what the song was. In the 80s, I might have been like my number one Kiss song. That's how much I loved it.
Wow.
But I don't know how much Ace contributed to it. So even though his name's on it, I think that's mostly Paul. So I left it off.
They call that a Sharon Osbourne, but go ahead.
Yeah. And I wanted to include It's My Life, which I also love, and I have it on my Gene list. The Psycho Circus version. Ace does sing that last verse of the song, right? So I felt like on a technicality, I could sneak it in, but I said, nah, that's a Gene song from 82. I can't do that. If I would have said It's My Life, I think Mike would have been like, dude, that's a Gene song. What the hell are you doing?
And a bad version at that.
Yeah, see, I like the Psycho Circus version.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
That and In Your Face, I
have no problem with either one.
Into the Void is a good tune because it's on that album. It's the most original Kiss sounding song because it's Ace's playing and riff.
Yep.
And doesn't Peter play on that? Is that the only track that Peter plays on? Yeah.
Yep.
I like it, but it doesn't rise above the rest.
Understand. And then the last two I had on my just missed was Shop Full of Rock. Vin, I know that was on yours. And from one of his newer albums, Give Me a Feeling is a song that I love also. Again, it's a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more unlike some of the Ace stuff that he does, but I didn't make the top 10, but I happen to love that song as well. So there are my just misses.
Cool.
Vin, did you have some that you hadn't called out yet? And then what I want to do then after you do that is I'm going to pause. Sorry, Vin. I'm going to pause us for a moment, and I want to put together our cumulative top 10 list to see across our 3 lists which songs get, I'll say, the most points, and we'll explain that in a moment, and then see which 10 songs make our cumulative top 10, and then I'll let you guys go for the day. So go ahead, Vin.
Then I could go to my gig.
That's right. He's like, I'm going to make you late for the gig.
Yeah. So ironically, in totality, I know we like to use the word totality.
Do we?
I have the
Okay.
same amount of songs as I had on my Paul Stanley list. I had 22 songs total on my list.
Wow. Okay.
That's how many I had to shuffle around.
Wowza.
So I'll just quickly go through them.
Go ahead.
Coming Home, as you mentioned, Calling to You, 2000 Man, Sorry Mike Brunn, Torpedo Girl. I just love just the bass line alone. And that's just mostly for the bass line. Okay. Another, I think, again, a sleeper song in my opinion. Talk to Me off the Unmasked record.
Yeah, nobody mentioned that one. Good call.
Love that song. Hard Times off of Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Into the Night. Dynasty. Into the Night. Mikey Brunn mentioned that one. Getaway. He's got a co-write on Getaway.
Good
Or
call
does
out
he
again.
write it? Yeah.
No, he
Uh,
wrote it. He wrote it
yeah.
himself. Good call out.
What's on Your Mind? It was on your list.
Yeah.
What
Mike
are you
and I
doing?
will forgive you for not having.
What are you doing? Stirring pasta? What's going on over there?
I'm trying to start
What,
the.
is your pool table now now a stove?
Making the weekend sauce.
All I see is this.
Yes, I'm making a nice pasta here on Saturday morning. No, I was starting to put together the cumulative list as you were talking because I don't want you to be late for your gig.
What, with flashcards? With
Yes,
flashcards?
flashcards, yes. All right, go ahead. I will not put together the cumulative.
Mike, he's got a refrigerator and a stove. He's got those little colored magnets with the letters on it.
He's got the stove going here. He's working on the list over here, and his feet, he's turning butter.
Right. That's great. That's great.
Exercise.
That's right. Multitasking.
What's on your mind? Right, I mentioned that
Yes.
one. Speeding Back to My Baby, great choice. Just was on the cusp. Strange Ways, as you mentioned, and maybe the most classical of all. My name is Eugene.
I was convinced you were going to put that on your list.
Yeah,
just because.
Yeah. I just remember my dad telling me, "Did you ever hear the song Eugene?" I'm like, he must have heard it on the radio. And I went to Music Stop, which it was the record store that we had on 86th Street in Brooklyn, and I saw they had the 12-inch of it, and then I look at it, says Ace Frehley. I'm like, what? Again, we had no idea. Like,
right.
It's Joe Renda, whatever the heck the guy's name was, Joe Blenda,
Crazy
whatever
Joe.
is it, Crazy Joe, right? Renda, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's just a classic. I mean, obviously, there's a reason why I left it off the list, but I had to give
hands
that
and fans for fun.
That may be the greatest lyric.
And then he gives a laugh like Mike just said.
Yeah. No, the greatest lyrics are I stick my hands in. Anyways, and I believe John Regan played bass on that.
He did, yes.
So
he did. And Ben,
anyway.
you and I loved that song in the early 80s, right?
Yeah.
Not knowing that Ace Frehley, like you said, had anything to do with it. And I think it was you when you bought the single or whatever it was a few years later, that kind of enlightened me that Ace had anything to do with it. But I hate to admit that you and I loved that, but we were 10 years old at the time. So it was a funny song, but I'm glad you mentioned that song.
It was either we put that on, and then the Joe Dolce classic. What's the matter?
Yes,
hey,
exactly. What's Shut Up in Your Face?
Mike Brunn, do you know that song? Shut Up in Your Face.
That part rings a bell, but I don't know that artist.
Joe Dolce.
Yeah.
I have it in the jukebox right behind me, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe the next show I'll just cue it up and I'll just start it at the beginning of the next show.
Yeah.
I gotta YouTube that now and see.
Yeah.
That rings a bell.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's
classic.
It's classic. Yes,
Totally
indeed.
classic.
Indeed. So, Mike, did you have any songs that just missed your list that you hadn't mentioned yet?
Yeah, Snowblind was really close because again, an iconic solo.
Yep.
One that nobody mentioned, but was real close. Escape from the Island.
Good call out. Yeah.
That's all Ace with a great solo in there, and it's it's pretty much Ace and Eric. So it's to me a bright spot on that album.
Agreed.
Talk to Me didn't really jump out, but then when they did it live and we have it on that off the soundboard from Tokyo, it's a bit cooler. And then I mentioned before, Insane and Juvenile Delinquent. Those are, again, two very cool Ace tunes. And then, like I said, It's Over Now. Ace was, he might have, had a coffee while they were recording it or something. But, and then the live, when you see the video, he does, he's playing rhythm at least on there. But, that I still associate that with Ace. And had that been another artist at that time that was not tied to Kiss or Ace in any way, I think that would have been a top 10 hit.
And I thought the story was that Todd actually considered giving that song to Cheap Trick at one point.
Oh, man. That would have been something else.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what that would sound like being recorded by them. But I could have the story wrong, but I'm fairly certain I heard that once.
I wonder if Rick Nielsen would have stomped on that demo. Does everyone know the story of that?
I think I know exactly what you're referring to, but for those who maybe are watching and listening that don't, go ahead, share it.
Very, very quickly. So the producer, whoever produced that record, I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Richie Zito, one of those guys, said, I'm gonna give you two songs that are guaranteed number one hits. And one of them was The Flame. And the other one was that Look Away by Chicago. And Rick Nielsen listened to, and I guess they picked The Flame, and he took the tape out and he stomped all over, and he's like, "There's no way," and I'm paraphrasing a bit, that I'm gonna just stomped on it, and obviously, I think it's safe to say that it really resurrected Cheap Trick's career in the late '80s, during that time. So, and both those songs became #1 hits, by the way. So,
shows what he knows.
yeah,
exactly.
Right. There you go.
Well,
So,
Mike, one last thing I'll say about your extra selections there. I remember when I saw Kiss at Radio City early '84, right? Look It Up tour. Obviously, at that time, nobody knew set list ahead of time and things like that. And I remember being convinced that the big song that Eric Carr was going to do his drum solo in when I went to see him that night was "Escape from the Islands."
Really?
I was convinced, that in the set list was going to be "Escape from the Islands," and then the whole breakdown where Eric has his drum fill there before the guitars come back. Right, I was like, that's where the drum solo is going to be.
Yeah.
I know, and obviously, boy, was I way wrong.
Yeah, but that would have been, now you think about it, that would have been cool. I mean,
That, to me, would have
anything
been
from
very
The
cool.
Elder would have been amazing. But Vinny would have taken that song and just ruined it.
Probably not you, Vinny.
yeah. I was like, what? I was like,
The
what
other
I do?
Vinny. The other
Damn it,
Vinny.
Vin.
I just hear the name, like, what would I have done?
I'm sorry, The Wiz.
Yeah.
The Wiz would
Wiz.
have
The Wiz.
whizzed it up and
Yeah.
just
Shoot. Yeah. So what I want to do is just spend a couple moments, and I won't bore everybody when I post this and to have them watch it. But I want to
Pretzel break.
This is Vincent's pretzel break. Exactly. I want to put out cumulative top 10 list. And what do I like to do this is, let's just say, Mike, in your case, your number 10 song will get 1 point. Your number 9 song is going to get 2 points. Vin just left. He doesn't even care about this. And he was like, not only am I going to get my pretzels, but I am out of here. Your number 8 song is going to get 3 points, so on and so forth. And then I'm going to add up yours, mine, and Vin's. And we're going to see which 10 songs get the most points, so that this way we'll have our cumulative top 10 list.
Okay.
So yeah, that you hear that buzzing sound that we have right now from Vin? That's what I always get whenever we start these things. So
watch this, 1, 2.
There you go, much better. So I gave everybody the rundown here, Vin, and I told them that you go get your pretzels. So on that note, we'll pause this. I'll be back in a moment with our cumulative top 10 list. We are back with our cumulative top 10 list here. As I said, I would assign points to each of our songs. Our number 10 song gets 1 point. Our number 1 song gets 10 points, to see which songs accumulate the most points for our cumulative top 10 list. So here we have at it, Mike, and Vin's top 10 Ace Frehley songs. Coming in at number 10 is a tie. In 10th and 9th place is a tie between Parasite and Fractured 3. So, Mike, one of your Fractured songs made the list.
All right.
Fractured 3 coming in number 9 and number 10. Number 8 is, and it would have been higher if it wasn't for this dopey guy, Mike Brunn, who didn't have it on his list at all, but Rock Soldiers came in at number 8. Then, number 7 was another one from Mike Wren's list, his number 1, Fractured Mirror. So we got 2 Fractured songs represented in our cumulative top 10.
I like how this is going.
Yeah, right. Then coming in at number 6 is Parasite. Number 6. What's on Your Mind is coming in at number 7. Number 5. Sorry, number 5. Number 5.
And number 33, we got number.
Number 5 is What's on Your Mind. Number 4 is Rocket Ride. And then the top 3 songs were songs that are on all 3 of our lists. Number 3 makes me, as we like to say, been thoroughly thawed, which basically just means we're excited for anybody else who doesn't know what the hell we're talking about. Save Your Love came in the number 3 spot, a sleeper of the list, but our number 3 song, Save Your Love, I love that. Then number 2 was Shock Me on all 3 of our lists. And number 1 was Rip It Out, was high up on all 3 of our lists. And I will say this, Rip It Out had a cumulative total of 26 points. Only one other song in the 4 episodes that I've recorded here got more points than Rip It Out. And that was
And I guess.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. But you knew the answer. You were there for the recording.
No, actually, I think I was going to say Black Diamond, but I would have gotten it wrong.
Yeah.
But now it makes sense. Okay. I was just quickly off the top of my head.
Yeah.
What song was it?
Deuce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Deuce, when we did the Gene episode, had 27 points. and Ace's Rip It Out had 26. So it just says to me what a freaking great song Rip It Out is.
Yeah.
On that all three of us had it high up on the list. I always like to close these things.
So wait a second. What
Go
was
ahead.
number one?
Rip It Out.
Okay, and so that was number one on my list. So I guess I was right in the end. For the number one song.
Everybody watching and listening could actually just ignore that comment if you'd like. That's okay. Yes. No, technically, yes. Technically, yes, you were right. You're right. You got that one.
If you say what was the number one, if we're just polling the three of us and adding the parents, as you would say, and the parents.
Yes.
Right?
And was it your number two was Shock Me, right?
Yes.
So you got the number one and number two.
Wow.
Right.
And I'm the one who always get made fun of. See?
Oh man.
Yeah.
As I always like to say when I close these out, we like to hear and see people's comments on what their top 10 lists are. I also like to hear which of our three lists people like the best. Of course, we know the right answer is mine, but I accept other answers. People are
By the
allowed
way,
to say
again,
Mike or Vin.
Same joke every episode.
Yes. Look, I have the same material. I have exactly. It's like the solo albums have the same 4 covers. I have the same 4 jokes in every one of these.
Well done.
Yes.
That's the point when I would like to shove one of the meatballs in your mouth to keep it quiet.
Oh man, but no, thanks for pointing that out for everybody that I use the same jokes in all 4 episodes. Oh man, but no, guys, this was an absolute blast. I think we're gonna have to do another episode together, maybe after the Kiss Cruises this year. When Mike comes home with 17 different trophies from all the different, he's going to be in a guitar thing for like 2 weeks straight. He's going to just be playing guitar on the Kiss Cruise.
Walk around the boat with the guitar on. 20
That's right. Mike, just let's close on this. When is your next show with your band?
We're playing October 9th in Red Bank.
Nice.
Something called Porch Fest.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure what specifically is going on, other than they sort of close off a part of town and set up artists on different porches and driveways and things and just play. So again, we're new. We have opportunities, but we figure we'll try anything and just play anywhere. I don't know if they'll invite us back because we do some.
I know what that feeling is. I know what that feeling's like.
Yeah, I'm expecting people to be pushing their kids in their strollers and coming by, picking up snacks and things at whatever vendors are set up, and then going, oh, okay. Well, we'll go over it. It's heavier music, but it's fun. And we had our first gig a few weeks back. It went very well received. So if anybody wants to check us out, it's Lunatic Chair on Facebook and Lunatic Chair Official on Instagram. We'll have all the info there. So if you're in Jersey, would love you to come out, and we will play one of the top 10 songs in this list here that apparently I'm a fool for not listing in my top.
But at least you have it in your set list.
He's gonna walk into the next rehearsal. They're gonna go, dude, what the fuck?
Rip it out 10 times.
Yeah.
And then drop in.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And Vin, obviously, I would say let's plug your next show, but your next show's in an hour, and I won't have this episode out. So your next show will be long over.
However, since this is Kiss related,
yes,
I am playing with Kiss Unmasked, the Kiss cover band. We're playing in Long Island at the Village Pub in Massapequa on October 1st, and I believe we're doing 2 sets.
1 week from today, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh shit, that's right. I'm gonna get my shit together. No, but yeah, it's gonna be 1 week from today. We're doing some newer tunes. A couple of surprises.
Songs from Monster?
Yes, that's the whole first side.
All right.
Did I just hear an oi guide? Did you say that, Mike Brunn?
I said long way down.
Oh, okay. All right. So looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, like I said, guys, this is a blast. I appreciate it. I will see you, Mike, on the cruise.
Yep.
Then I'll probably find you in my pool sometime the next couple of weeks, just swimming around.
October.
That's right. I'll wake up one morning, there you are.
Yeah.
So, but
I thought about it. You know me, how I used to just show up at your house.
Literally,
I thought about it.
Mike, when we grown up, we lived right down the block from each other, and we'd be on the phone, and he'd be like, just hold on 1 minute, I got to go get something. He'd put the phone down. He wouldn't hang up. He just put the phone down. All of a sudden, knock on my door. What the hell? And there's Vin.
I'd walk in, he's like this with the phone. He's like,
and I'm still holding the phone, waiting for him to come back.
And his mom be like, he did it to you again.
And then he'd walk into the house. He wouldn't even say hello. He'd right through my living room, right into my kitchen, make a left-hand turn right for the cookie jar, right in.
Priority,
Just
man.
some-
Yeah.
yes,
And
exactly.
then turn around and go back home and pick up the phone. Thanks for the cookies.
Yeah.
He never did
Thanks
that.
for
I'm
that.
shocked he didn't.
Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah,
Those
you
calls
missed that
weren't
one.
cheap then either,
But
man.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
And he'd
The
keep his
best-
phone line all tied up all that time.
Yeah, that's
best-
right.
The best part of it was, or one of the best times is, I think either he said or his mom said, we're going to get him this time. So I go in, I do my routine. I go in the house and I'm like this. I'm looking at the counter. There's no cookie jar. I'm like
Cookie
this.
jar, we moved
And,
it.
and his mom and his dad's on the counter. Yeah. And I was like, where did it go? I was like in a panic, trying to find a cookie jar.
Very true. Good.
Classic.
Anyway, all right, we're way off topic of Ace Frehley songs, but I like sharing that story. Anyway,
Yeah.
everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you guys for joining. See you guys in a few weeks, Mike, and see you in a few weeks as well, Vin. And
All right.
on that note, as I like to end, double Ringo.
Double Ringo. Mike's like, what?
I like doing that to all the people who aren't on all the time. Like, what
He's
the
like-
hell?
I'm just going to say quintessential.
Yeah. Quintessential. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. This is the quintessential episode.
Yeah.
Later.
Later.
Alrighty, there you have it. I'd like to thank both Mike and Vincent for joining me, counting down our individual top 10 favorite Ace Frehley songs. That was a lot of fun, and we really look forward to hearing your feedback and seeing your comments and your lists of what your favorite top 10 Ace Frehley songs are. If you guys haven't done so already, also be sure to check out our episodes where we count down our 10 favorite songs from Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and Peter Criss as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.